Hi, everyone. My name is Russell Cook. I'm the director of the Silver State Health Insurance Exchange, also known as Nevada Health Inc. And I wanted to thank you all very much for taking the time to join us today. Did want to check in quickly with Tiffany Davis from the exchange to ensure that you can hear me okay.
Yes, Russell, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, wonderful. And if you didn't have a chance to check the chat first, did want to mention up front that this meeting is being recorded for posterity. That is not only so that we can review the recording of the meeting afterwards, but also so that we can post the meeting and make it available to today's attendees, as well as we are going to be having a second workshop. Today is the first of two workshops. The second workshop is scheduled for Thursday, May 2nd. And we will be posting the recording in part so that individuals who are unable to attend today's workshop but will be able to attend the next workshop on May 2nd have a chance to review the discussion that occurs today. So without further ado, I wanted to briefly review the agenda for today's meeting, which was also posted to our website. The purpose of this public comment workshop is to solicit feedback on the Silver State Health Insurance Exchange's proposed language access plan that has been drafted in compliance with Senate Bill 318, which was signed into law during the 2021 Nevada legislative session. And this bill required that all state agencies create a language access plan to improve access to government services, programs, and information for Nevadans with limited English proficiency. This requirement is also defined under NRS 232.0081. So within SB 318, as well as the NRS that I just mentioned, each agency of the executive branch shall solicit public comment concerning the language access plan. The language access plan itself was included in the meeting agenda, and I will be reviewing that shortly. We had intended to begin today's meeting by reading any written comments that were submitted prior to today's workshop, but we have not yet, to date anyway, received any written comments. So I will be jumping right into a reading of our language access plan. It will only take a few minutes to do so. It's just a two-page document, I think, at this point. And then we will open up the public comment portion of the workshop. So I will indicate when live public comment will be taken. Persons making comments will be asked to begin by stating and spelling their name for the record. I don't think we have so many attendees today that we're going to have to be strict about the time limits, but we may need to limit comments to 3 minutes per speaker, as well as to limit commentary to the topic presented on this agenda if time management becomes a concern. Did also want to touch on a few rules of conduct. The viewpoint of a speaker will not be restricted, but reasonable restrictions may be imposed upon the time, place, and manner of speech. Irrelevant and unduly repetitious statements and personal attacks that antagonize or incite others are examples of public comments that may be reasonably limited. I wanted to mention also that there may be attendees today who have dialed in through the phone, but do not have access to the full Microsoft Teams interface, including the ability to raise your hand. I will be asking explicitly at several points throughout the meeting for any public comment for those on the phone. And when I do so, please unmute yourselves if you have yourself on mute at the time. And please go ahead and speak up. If there's more than one of you on the phone at the time who wishes to make a public comment, and again, you don't have access to the Microsoft Teams interface, please go ahead and speak up. We will take your name for the record, and then I will cycle through in an order of my choosing, I suppose, and make sure that we get everyone covered there. For those of you who are attending by way of the Microsoft Teams app, you can raise your hand, and the application will notify us not only of who has their hand raised, but it will also assign a number to each individual so that we can see the order in which you've raised your hands. So I will check in at the beginning of this process. I will check in first to see if there are any folks who wish to make a comment by phone, rather. And then once we get through those, if there are any, Then we will move on to those folks that have their hand raised in Microsoft Teams, and then I will circle back once we get through those to ask if there are any further comments on the phone. Did want to mention up front that the intent of this workshop is to gather public comment primarily, and was not intended to serve as a questions and answer forum. That being said, I will, to the best of my ability, attempt to answer any questions that are raised, but I just wanted to remind everyone that that was not the primary intent for this workshop. So, we are happy to answer any questions within reason and within my ability to do so. Any questions that I'm not able to answer today, we will most likely circle back in our next workshop on, again, Thursday, May 2nd, to address those questions, provided that we were able to get those answered in the meantime. So without further ado, I think we are about ready to begin the reading of the language access plan, followed by public comment. I did want to take a moment, though, and just check in again with Tiffany Davis to make sure I haven't overlooked any procedural items. I am going to give a custodial reminder in just a moment about keeping your microphones or your phones on mute. But if there's anything else that I overlooked, Tiffany, I'd be very grateful for a reminder at this time.
Thank you, Director Cook. I do believe that you covered all of the aspects that needed to be covered, and I would ask our DAG, Radhika Kunal, if she has any insight into anything that maybe we've missed, since this is our first workshop, and just would like to get her input, see if there's anything we should add.
Hello there, this is Radhika Kunal, just for the record, Deputy Attorney General. Yes, ED Cook has covered everything, and if anybody has questions, please feel free to ask, as long as it's within the scope of the intent for the meeting. And I'm here listening in.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Radhika. Thank you, Tiffany, very much, and thank you all again for joining us for our first attempt at a public workshop. I mentioned a moment ago a custodial reminder about keeping your phones or your microphones on mute until you're ready to share a comment with us. Did want to mention, by the way, that the reason why we are in favor of and we are essentially pilot testing this public workshop format is because it allows for an interactive discussion that is not possible when you are submitting written comments alone. So while we do want to maintain orderly conduct, and we want to ensure that speakers are not attempting to talk over each other, if you share a comment early on in the workshop and someone else mentions something that you would like to elaborate on or echo support for later on in the workshop, you are certainly encouraged to do so. We do want this to be an interactive discussion. I would ask, please, that we try and maintain, again, an orderly approach, that we speak one at a time, that you raise your hand if you have a comment, and give every other speaker an opportunity to share their commentary or their feedback. And if we need to make any adjustments along the way, I guess I'll reserve the right to jump in and do so. But I'm very glad to see this level of attendance and interest in the workshop. So in the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we'll read through the draft version of our language access plan that has been posted along with our agenda. So without further ado, the Silver State Health Insurance Exchange is the state agency connecting eligible Nevada residents to qualified health and dental plans through the online health insurance marketplace known as Nevada HealthLink. The exchange will be innovative and proactive in engaging individuals from different cultures, backgrounds, and businesses throughout its programs and activities. Limited English proficiency is a term used to describe individuals who are not proficient in the English language. Nevada HealthLink's LEP/Language Access Plan is designed to comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Executive Order 13166, which prohibits recipients of federal financial assistance from discrimination based on national origin. The number or proportion of LEP persons eligible in Nevada who may be served or likely to encounter Nevada HealthLink's programs, activities, or services are based on Nevada populations, and that is Spanish, French, German, or other West Germanic languages, Russian, Polish, or other Slavic languages, other Indo-European languages, Korean, Chinese, including Mandarin and Cantonese, Vietnamese, Tagalog, including Filipino, other Asian and Pacific Island languages, and Arabic. These have all been identified as the highest LEP languages and thus most likely to be encountered. In this plan, LEP individuals are understood as people who do not speak English as their primary language and who have a limited ability to read, speak, write, or understand English. The exchange's LEP four-step focus is identifying the LEP population in our service area, the exchange's resource and methods for providing language access services, how the exchange trains staff to provide language access services to the public, and how the exchange monitors language access services and responds to complaints. The exchange's services to the public include the exchange assists consumers in a variety of languages. The Nevada HealthLink website can be transmitted or translated into 109 different languages. Nevada HealthLink's call center offers TTY line support for those who are deaf, hard of hearing, or speech disabled. 711 and multi-language options are also available through the call center. The exchange also provides free broker and navigator assistance, offering assistance in multiple different languages. The exchange informs LEP individuals about their right to free language assistance services in the following ways. LEP individuals are directly informed by exchange staff and certified assisters or broker and agent enrollment representatives. The call center representatives inform the LEP individuals at the time of contact that free interpreting services are available. Information is published via NevadaHealthLink.com in over 100 languages that can be translated. Outreach events and presentations to statewide community organizations, sponsorship events, and community partnerships are offered in English and Spanish and other languages as requested through Nevada HealthLink educational resources and printed materials. Local, non-English language media is directed towards LEP individuals in their languages. Social media posts are developed and published in both Spanish and English. Public statement hearing notices, news releases, and fact sheets contain information about Nevada HealthLink's free interpreting services. Nevada HealthLink has a webpage which contains the language access plan that we're reading now and additional language access materials, as well as contact information and instructions in the process for filing a complaint. The website also lists the publications and forms published by the exchange in over 100 languages. So now we'll move on. How Nevada HealthLink determines the need for services. During in-person encounters, the exchange uses the following tools to determine whether an individual is LEP, limited English proficiency, and what their primary language is. Broker and navigator grantees will provide in-person enrollment assistance and services, providing information about free interpreting services in multiple languages. Bilingual staff members, as well as brokers, agents, and navigators, assist in identifying a limited English proficiency individual's language. On telephone calls via the call center, the exchange and call center representatives use the following tools to find out if an individual is LEP and what their primary language is. Call center representatives or CSRs will make those determinations based on experience and consumer needs or requests. Bilingual staff will assist in identifying an LEP individual's language. On the TTY line, designed for those who are deaf, hard of hearing, or speech disabled, they will have an option to enter their language of choice. And then multi-language options are available through the call center as well as at NevadaHealthLink.com. And as far as staff training is concerned, staff training includes the following components: the agency's legal obligations to provide language access services, including this language access plan, the agency's resources for providing language access services, how to access and work with interpreters, cultural competence and cultural sensitivity training, as well as how to obtain translation services. So those are all the areas in which we train our staff. And then I think we're getting towards the end here. As far as monitoring is concerned, the exchange's call center monitors the language report by the exchange's call center tracks and logs how many calls are transferred to the TTY number for language assistance. We also track the number of calls connected to agents, as well as international transfers. The following matrix illustrates legal and policy considerations that require Nevada HealthLink to provide LEP persons with meaningful access to programs, activities, and services. and that I believe many of these were mentioned earlier in the document. I will, in the interest of time, move on to the final paragraphs of the document. But if there's anyone who would like to circle back on this matrix, or if there are any comments raised during the meeting or any questions that would benefit from pulling this back up on screen, I'll be more than happy to do so at that time. And I'll conclude this reading with the last paragraph. Nevada Health Link understands that language needs will change as the Nevada population changes. The exchange will comply with the requirement to assess its programs and services each year to determine compliance with various non-discrimination regulations. So that being said, this is really our first attempt to do exactly that. We will be repeating this process or something like it on an annual basis in future years. But this is the first opportunity that we are providing to the general public and to our exchange stakeholders in particular to provide us with some feedback and to help us to understand the language needs, in particular the changing language needs, and some adjustments or changes that we might need to make here at the exchange in order to meet those needs. So I'm going to take this document off of screen share for now. Again, I can put it up if that would be helpful to address any comments or questions that arise. We will be circling back to comment from those attending through the Teams app in just a moment. So if you have any comments prepared, please go ahead and raise your hand. We'll get you in the queue. But I did want to, before we get into the Teams attendees, check and see if there's anyone who is attending by telephone only who wishes to provide public comment at this time. And if you could please just make your presence known, maybe share your first name with us. If there's more than one of you, I'll take note of your names and we'll get to you one by one. So please feel free to unmute yourselves and announce your intent to make a comment at this time. All right, I'm going to consider that to be addressed for the moment. I'm not hearing any comments on the from telephone attendees only. Is there anyone who's attending by way of the Teams app who wishes to make some public comment regarding the language access plan? If so, please raise your hand and we will call on you in order. Going once. Going twice. All right. Okay, good. We've got a hand raised here. Let me see who that is. Okay. The name is just showing up as MROD. And I apologize if that's a first name. I'm not going to hazard a guess on the pronunciation, but please, the floor is yours. We would appreciate hearing any comments or feedback you may have.
I just want clarification that if I am speaking to someone that doesn't speak Spanish, I'm bilingual, but another language, I can call Nevada Health Link and they can help me present a plan to interpret properly, or they can get an interpreter?
So that's yes. The TTY feature in particular allows for consumers to contact the call center, and we offer during normal business hours bilingual assistance in either English or Spanish. For a language other than English or Spanish, what we do is we use that TTY line to essentially loop a third party who speaks that native language into the discussion. And then that individual can serve essentially as a translator between the consumer who has contacted the call center and the call center representative. They will use that third party as a translator to facilitate their discussion. I hope that answers your question, though. If I misunderstood, please let me know. I'm happy to clarify.
It does. I've been getting a lot of people from Korea, and I've had the kids translate, and I didn't realize that I can have some assistance with someone from Nevada Health Link to help me with that.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, if you call into our call center, and you can do that, sounds like you may be providing enrollment assistance. So we do have a dedicated agent, broker, and navigator support line. You can use that line, or you can use our primary 800 number, which is designed primarily for consumer assistance. And then if you request language assistance from the customer service representative whom you reach, they will be able to loop in that third party by way of TTY.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, and we appreciate the question. Any other comments or feedback regarding the language access plan? Please raise your hand, and we'll call on you next. The queue is short, so it's a great time. All right. Well, I'm not hearing any other any other comments or feedback. We do still have the option to submit feedback via email at the email address that is posted in the meeting agenda here. I do see we have another attendee who's just joining the meeting. We'll give her a moment. For those who are just joining us, I'm Russell Cook. I'm the director of Nevada Health Inc. And there she is. Jennifer, don't mean to call you out, but I believe we had addressed all of the comments and the feedback thus far. Just wanted to give you an opportunity to share any comments or feedback if you had any. Now's a great time. The lines are wide open.
Sorry, I was
no problem.
joining in a little bit late. I was having some connection issues, but no, I don't have any comments or feedback. I was just happy to join in. So thank you.
Okay, great. Well, just wanted to bring you up to speed. We had one comment, or it was more of a question thus far, regarding the availability of language translation services through our call center. And I was able to confirm that we do have TTY language support in several dozen languages. So any consumers who contact our call center, they are able, of course, to get direct assistance in either English or Spanish. If they require assistance in another language besides English or Spanish, the customer service representatives in our call center are able to loop in a third party through the TTY translation service so that they can serve as a translator essentially between the caller and the customer service representative. And that, I believe, will bring you up to speed in this workshop thus far. So I'm going to go back to the phone lines once again. Are there any folks who are dialing in on the phone only who are not attending by way of Teams who have comments or feedback to share, or questions are welcome at this time also? The intent was primarily to gather comments and feedbacks, but given the limited participation thus far, I'm more than happy to spend some time answering questions as well. Wanted to direct your attention as well to the chat in our meeting, the meeting chat rather. Tiffany Davis has reminded us, she's with us, she's one of our personnel at the exchange here, reminded us to please send public comments regarding the language access plan to Caitlin Blagan. Her email address is kblagan@exchange.nv.gov. So that is the means by which you can submit comments or feedback by email between now and our second workshop, which will be held on Thursday, May 2nd. I know that I just checked and we didn't have any comments, but let me just double check on the phone lines. Anyone who's on the phone but not on the Teams app and wants to share some comments or feedback, please go ahead and take yourself off mute and announce your presence right now. Happy to give you an opportunity, and then I'll circle back one last time on our Teams attendees, see if there are any additional comments or feedback there. All right, still not hearing anything on the phone. One last opportunity for anyone joining by Teams. It looked like we had a couple of folks just join us within the last couple of minutes. If you have any comments or feedback to share on our language access plan, we would very much appreciate it if you would raise your hand. I will then call on you and you can share your comments and feedback with the group. All right, well enough. Well, I was anticipating that this would be a relatively brief workshop, but I do appreciate those of you who have attended the workshop. Again, you'll have, if any additional comments or questions or concerns occur to you in the meantime between today and Thursday, May 2nd, we would encourage you to please bring those comments to the workshop. You are obviously welcome to submit those comments by email to Caitlin in the meantime at the address that Tiffany just shared in the chat message. But at this time, I am going to now adjourn the meeting, and thank you all very much for attending our first public workshop. And again, just a last reminder, Thursday, May 2nd at the same time, 1 p.m. Pacific time, we will be having our second and final workshop. And the results of both of these workshops will be incorporated into a revised version of our language access plan, which we will then present to our board of directors during our June board meeting. And Tiffany, I'm so sorry, I had the date up a moment ago, but I changed pages on my calendar. Can you please refresh my memory as to the date of the June board meeting, which will be the last opportunity for public comment on the language access plan?
It's June 18th as our official next board meeting.
Okay, wonderful. So that's Tuesday, June 18th, right? And that will follow the Thursday, May 2nd, second workshop. So I want to thank you all again for your time and for your interest in this topic. Again, you have an opportunity to submit comments via email in the meantime to Caitlin. And then, oh, we had a question here in the chat. Can we ask Medicaid? Would you be so kind as to clarify a little bit, just give me a little more context? Are you talking about maybe inviting Medicaid to this meeting, or are you referring to their separate language access plan, which would be specific to their agency?
Yes, if somebody from Medicaid can be part of this, I help a lot of people enrolled in Medicaid, and it seems that when I enroll them in the Nevada Health Link, the application goes to Medicaid, but for whatever reason, it takes Medicaid a long time to receive that information. So it's faster for people to go in person. I don't know if there's a way that we can help them, get their benefits sooner besides going in person. Or maybe we can have a partnership with somebody from Medicaid to help us if we apply. We help the client apply online, that we can get a quicker response.
There are some constraints regarding the we call it the account transfer process. That's the process by which we exchange information, electronic information bidirectionally, to or from Nevada Medicaid. I just want to clarify though, and I apologize if I'm misunderstanding the question. Were you suggesting that maybe, if we were able to maybe loop in a representative from Medicaid in our next workshop, that might be helpful? Or I'm afraid I'm
Yes,
not
yes.
understanding. Okay.
That would be
Certainly.
great, so I can have an understanding of how that works as well too.
Okay.
I would
I
appreciate it.
don't know. Okay.
And-
I mean that. Tiffany, go
And
ahead. Did
Russell,
you have
to
something? Sure.
Yeah, just to your point, just to clarify, Medicaid will have their own, that their department, their division, their agency will also have their own language access plan and how they do things. So this is specifically for our agency. And if you need contact numbers, we could reach out to see who we can get you in contact with to clarify those kind of things and get a little extra assistance. But that would be outside the scope of, I believe, this meeting at this time.
But
Okay.
I think it's a great suggestion, and we don't want to be dismissive of the importance of those concerns. It just is, maybe it sounds like a little outside of the scope of this meeting. Did want to mention though that if clarification, if additional information would be helpful regarding some of the more nuanced details of exactly what that process entails of an applicant through our system being referred over to Medicaid, and then eventually Medicaid getting back to the exchange, which typically happens within less than a week these days. I think the average turnaround time is about 3 or 4 business days these days. So it's not a great deal of time, generally speaking, unless there are complicating or mitigating factors. But if it would be helpful to have some additional information, you're more than welcome to contact your. And again, I'm assuming. I apologize. I don't mean to put words in your mouth. I'm assuming that you're either an agent broker or a navigator or perhaps an in-person assister. But we do have resources available. We have a broker support email, or if you're in the navigator community, more than welcome to reach out to Rosa, our navigator program coordinator. And we have a lot of additional information that we can share with you to help you streamline that process for consumers. We don't want anyone getting, kind of lost in the shuffle between our two systems. And if there are, specific scenarios that you have experienced that seem to be, happening, in the same manner, unfolding in the same manner, rather, for different consumers, different households. We certainly would love to be aware of that and help you to navigate that process. So I guess open-ended invitation to reach out to us and share your concerns, ask any questions. Those are, again, just a little bit outside of the scope of today's meeting, but we really appreciate the feedback. All right, great. And then I'm not sure if it's Jocelyn or Jocelyn. I see it looks like you're lighting up a little bit. If you had a question or a comment or any feedback to share, we'd love to hear from you. Okay. Well, if you don't have any questions or comments, we would appreciate it if you could keep yourself on mute. That just helps us to manage the attendees a little easier. But did want to send one last offer out there. Anyone who wishes to provide comments or feedback regarding the language access plan, we'd appreciate it if you could please raise your hand, and I will call on you momentarily. There is no one ahead of you in line. All right, if there are no more comments or questions, I'm going to adjourn today's meeting, 30 minutes on the dot. Not bad. I really appreciate your time and your interest in this subject, everyone. Last reminder, email Caitlin in the meantime, please, kblagan@exchange.nb.gov. It's in the chat. If you have any comments in the meantime or questions regarding the language access plan, we'll take any and all feedback we can get. And then just closing reminders here, Thursday, May 2nd is our second and final workshop. And then Tuesday, June 18th, I believe, is our June board meeting. There will, as always, be an opportunity for public comment during that board meeting as well. Thank you again, everyone, for your time. We're very grateful for your attendance, and we look forward to speaking with you in the future. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great day.